Oh, you see back there, that's the Washington Monument. If I get it in, where the heck? Ah, there it is. There's the Washington Monument. Well, I'm up here on my daily run. I don't know. I think this is like day 4 of the coronavirus grants. and it's just a mess. I remember when Obamacare came out, how it was all screwed up and things like that, and they were thinking about that for 6 months, 6 years, or something like that. This group, that set up all these $2 trillion of grants, thought about it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month or something like that. And they expected just hit the ground running and all run smooth. But actually, they pulled the trigger a couple days ago, and it is so screwed up. So that's why now you got to figure out they're going to spend the money. First of all, that's going to happen. So it's just a matter of when and how, and how do you deal with it. And there's a couple of things that come to my mind. First of all, see, what I was reading this morning in the paper is that so many of the agencies now have no higher level officials because they haven't been appointed. So we have one guy running the whole thing, and then there's nobody in the middle, and then all the bureaucrats making the stuff work. And so that's sort of clogging up the system to get things happen fastly, quickly. So I think there's three things that are there that you want to figure out. And one is the amount coming from the IRS. Now, if you file taxes in the last 2 years, you're good. No problem with that. If you haven't, and if you're Social Security or railroad retirement, you're good because they have the information and you'll get your money faster than anybody. So that's not a problem. The unemployment is a disaster. So this is where you're going to get up to $4,000 or $5,000 a week unemployment for up to 13 weeks. No, not 13 weeks, 39 weeks. So there's a big bonanza of money. But the problem is it's run through the state governments. And there's 25 states that are using software from the 1980s. Man, that's when I was writing. That's when I learned software. It was the 70s and 80s. So they have these big, I guess, IBM computers back there. It's sort of like instead of the laptop you have now, you had, remember, one of the first laptops was the Radio Shack. It's something like a TRS or something like that. Now just think, I mean, they had no memories. You just can't process lots of stuff on those things. So that's a problem. Now, the other thing for the business loans, which is terrific because you'll pay your payroll, for at least 2 months, and it's a loan, but you get it forgiven. And there's also an extra $10,000 grant. And the banks who are supposed to run it, they don't even know what the hell to do. I mean, they change the rules up in the last minute, and the banks are all screwed up. And banks, being what they are, they're very cautious people. So they don't want to do anything. So they close the door, and I don't know. They're going to have a hard time figuring this out. Okay, here's a couple of things I would do. Number one is, particularly on the state government, to do if you can't get through somebody on the phone, there's a couple of things to do. Is go to the state main page and look for a phone directory, or your county. If you want to go to the county government, that's even fine. What you're looking for is phone directory. So you could put in Montgomery County, Maryland, contact list. So all the people in Montgomery County contact list. And what you do, so you just you have all the phone numbers, and you have a plan that doesn't matter how many phone calls you make. You just go down the list, okay? You sit there with a box of popcorn or a bowl full of popcorn or whatever the heck you want, and you just call every one of the people on that list and see who's there to talk to. I know a lot of them are not supposed to be there and all this kind of stuff, or they'll be forwarded to whatever. It'll be fun. And what to do, help other people by having that number, save that phone number and maybe even the title and what answer you got, okay? Because maybe you'll run into things that you didn't even know. When someone picks up the phone, you just be nice as hell, okay? You don't be mad you're waiting on hold for 1,000 years. No, you be nice as hell because they're pissed off what's going on too, okay? And say, hey, is there any way I could whatever you want to do, and you explain it, whatever, and see what they suggest, because they're inside the belly of the beast. We're not, so we're dealing with it once every 10 years or whatever the heck. We don't know how this stuff works, Nobody does. They don't even know inside, but you have a better chance of them saying, oh, you know what you ought to do? Call Alice. Alice is the really one who knows everything. Her boss doesn't know shit, but Alice, she gets it done. Here's her phone number. And don't tell her I called you. I told her to call you. And call Alice and see how Alice can help you. Yeah. So that's what to do, particularly on the unemployment, because that's going to be stuck at your local level, and you got to get that approved or whatever. And now it's easier than ever to get unemployment. You don't even have had a job. You lose your job. You don't have to look for work. All these things that don't matter anymore. They're just trying to get money to people, but they're so screwed up they can't. Yeah. So you want to find out how, and what's going to happen too. And most of us have nothing better to do because it's not working, right? So you're going to learn the system. You're going to find stuff that you're going to go, oh, you know what you should also do? We have another program nobody's taking advantage of. And you will get so much knowledge about what's going on there. Now, the other thing to do, who probably is getting a lot of phone calls, is your elected official, okay? So your elected official, these are the people you vote for. And you vote for not only the president, but at the state level. If this is one of these Corona programs, so you have 3 people in your state that are working on these federal programs and know the answers to a lot of these questions. And that's your 2 senators and your U.S. representative, we call it congressman. And then if it's local, if it's county and stuff like that, you go down lower, because maybe if the county official won't give you an okay on your unemployment or whatever it is, then call the elected official for the county. Now, to find all these people and their phone numbers, you go to commoncause.org, commoncause, CAUSE.org. Everything you do at this time, do not go to a .com. You just don't have money, and any .com is going to get money out of you one way or another. So commoncause.com, and you find my representative. And when you go there, you put in your address, and out pop all the people that represent you at every form of government. And you just keep making phone calls, and that's how to do that. And that's right. There's no magic. It's going to be a pain in the ass. But I think, to me, what to do is look at this pain in the ass as fun. Have fun with these people, and learn the system. This is something you're going to be able to use for the rest of your life. Nobody does it because they're saying, oh, how do you call the government? The government won't talk to me. Shit, the government won't talk to you now because they're too goddamn busy talking to people, right? So obviously they're going to talk to you. They want to talk to you. So that's it. So that's on the unemployment. So you have the IRS, you have the unemployment, and the third one is business. So even as, oh, by the way, unemployment is for self-employed, for gig workers, and all these people that are not normally covered by unemployment. You are. And you don't have to be making anything else. Just apply. Who cares? You're going to fill out a form, and maybe they'll say no. There's no guarantee, but there's a guarantee you get nothing if you don't apply. That's the only thing we can guarantee. You apply, no guarantee, right? Because you're up to the bureaucrat. And by the way, particularly for unemployment, every state has a level to appeal. And I think that's very important now, because if they say no to your unemployment, they really don't know. Nobody knows the goddamn law. It's so new. Nobody has interpreted enough, so whatever. So one bureaucrat will say no, and if you take that no for an answer and don't appeal, see what you do. If you appeal that, it goes to another bureaucrat, and they say, hey, we should really do this, and they change their mind. Every time the government does something like that where there's appeal, I find, and I've seen data on this for the Freedom of Information Act, when they say, you can't have this, that's covered under Section B, and you're not allowed to have that. If you appeal, a third of the people get what they asked for. See, it goes to another bunch of bureaucrats, and they worry about something else. And particularly something like this, when it's not worked out. I mean, all those people who work on the unemployment office, they've been following the same rules for 50 years. Now they're changing rules upside down, and how many's going to get the word? And some bureaucrat just depending, is stamping your application yes or no, based on something, and maybe he did it by accident. So that's why there's no big set of big rules that interpret the details of these new laws. So that means that it's an opportunity for you to appeal to this thing and get it overturned. Okay, now the banks, the small business. Now, see, that goes through banks. The SBA is managing it. You find out about that program through the SBA, and it's a paycheck, PP, I forget. But if you put Corona and SBA and make sure you .gov, you'll see it there. Now, there is a list of all the banks that give SBA loans now. They're the banks they work through, okay? So a lot of banks, what they're saying that, oh no, we're only going to give it to people who already have loans with us. And every bank's going to have some pain in the ass thing why it's not. But I read this morning, the people who are doing it quickly are the community banks. So there's little banks. So you want to find those little suckers. And there's a big list there at the SBA on their website for the Corona loans. And remember, these loans turn into grants, so you're not going to pay them back. But read the details or whatever. It's just not automatic. You have to use the money to pay for payroll. And data I've seen today is that half the small businesses will be closing down within 2 months if they don't get this money. So this stuff will change initially. I mean, these people all want to get reelected, so they got to figure this out. They jumped the gun and fucked it all up, so now they have to unfuck it. And that's hard to do. It's like being unpregnant. I guess there's ways to do that, isn't it? So just hang in there, but learn. Call the banks, because you'll get a better deal at some other bank, that really wants to get into this business. And like somebody wrote me on one of my videos, oh, Lesko, you're so old, out of date already. And this was 2 days ago, and it just happened 3 days ago, about nobody's giving money anymore. They just don't know how. They have to get rid of the money. And so it's a numbers game. So play it that way. You're going to make a bunch of phone calls. I mean, your option is you sit around and do nothing, right? We do enough of that. And now, see, and if you make notes on every person you call to, and you can put it on, if you remember Lesko Help, put it on our platform and share with us who are the good people and who are the bad people. Or if you're not a Lesko Help member, find a blog locally, that helps citizens, locally would want to know. And have all this data. You're going to be a superhero by doing this. You collect the banks, put down the date you call them, and just some shorthand of what they said, yes, no, or maybe, or you're full of baloney or whatever, and have that for people to know. So then you're going to save how many people the same time, not having to call every bank. You're going to do it, see, and then you're going to encourage them where to get that money, and you could start a whole new movement yourself. And now you've learned a business. The next time you do this, you do it for money, because you know how to just sit on the phone, make phone calls. So instead of being a customer rep or Comcast or something like that at home, you could do this and make good money. Because people really want to know where to get cheap money, and you'll have that. You could build a day. Well, anyway, it'll be fun though. And that's the way to deal with it. It's going to be screwed up. Nothing. This is the government, remember. Any big organization. Comcast the same way. But, the main reason it's screwed up because they try to do so much so fast. $2.2 trillion is like half the government. So it's not like, the government's only 4 or 5 trillion. So all of a sudden, in like 2 months of thought, not even that, they say, well, let's increase the government by 50%, double, increase the government by 50%, in 2 weeks. And there are going to be lots more screw ups before it gets straight. So your option is to do nothing and not get the money, or do something and learn and maybe get the money. And at least you're having fun and you're learning. And that's what Lesko Help is about. It's showing you the options in life. Now, the options in life, even the things that are normal take a lot of work. So the abnormal thing will take more work because you'll have to learn that system. And that's what it's all about. Learning the system, how to use it, so you're not blown away by the first person that hangs up on you and you go, oh, see, I knew there was nothing there for me. No, that's why people don't use this, because they're not willing to go over those hurdles. Anything you do is going to have roadblocks. It's going to have hurdles. It's going to have all kinds of assholes that get in your way. And your job is, what are you going to do with that? You're going to go over them. You're going to go around them. You're going to go through them. And that's your option. So just have fun doing it. Okay. See you later. I wonder what tomorrow's going to be like. Yeah. More fun to come.